Welcome back to Askewed Reviews. Today is day 23 of 25 of our 25 days of Christmas movie reviews, and today we are doing Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. As for the trivia question, what scene was not originally in the movie? Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer is a classic Rankin and Bass Christmas special. In fact, it's the longest running Christmas special of all time. The story for the movie pretty much centers around Rudolph and Hermie, who both feel like misfits, as Rudolph has a red nose that the other reindeer don't seem to like, and Hermie wants to be a dentist, which apparently elves don't do. Speaking of things that elves don't do, did you ever notice that Hermie is the only elf with round ears instead of pointed ears? I can't help but wonder if we have a true elf situation, where a human child ended up in the North Pole and is being raised as an elf, and this is maybe why he's very different. Now, aside from those two, though, almost everybody else in the North Pole, at least that's from there, is apparently an absolute jerk. Rudolph's own father can't even help but continually push Rudolph down and tell him that he looks like a freak and not like the other reindeer. His mom isn't all that much better, as she's just complacent and is not really doing anything to help. And then, of course, you've got the head elf, who's Hermie's boss, and he also cannot help but keep telling Hermie, "Oh, you're not like the other elves, you're a weirdo. You should be more like us. Conform, conform." The other elves aren't that much better, as they just kind of nod their heads and agree with the head elf, or just kind of treat Hermie a little weirdly. The other reindeer are even worse. They're constantly trashing Rudolph and making fun of him and mocking him constantly, even the adults. Really, Clarice is the only one who actually treats him with any actual respect and dignity. Don't even get me started on Santa. Throughout the whole thing, he's an absolute douche canoe. He's constantly ragging on Rudolph and being like, "Whoa, don't be a freak anymore. Well, you better change your ways." And he treats his elves terribly. They try to make him a song, and he's like, "Well, I guess you could do better next time." I can't help but wonder, with Mrs. Claus constantly being, "Eat, eat," there's something sinister about her in this movie, and I can't help but wonder if she's planning on poisoning him or something like that, just because of how terrible he actually is. Now on to an actually good character, Yukon Cornelius. He's a ton of fun. I really enjoy him. And depending on which version you originally saw of the movie, when he flips his pick into the ice and then licks it, the original version was that he's actually trying to find a peppermint mine, not gold and silver, and that's why he licked it. You of course have the Bumble, or the Abominable Snowman, which is just a fun, great monster character to have in the background, and he ends up being one of the good guys by the end. Then of course you've got the Island of Misfit Toys, which I could probably do a whole separate video about how messed up their whole situation is, but I digress. The one thing I will say is they are a great addition to the movie, and their king, though, that's a little bit of a weird situation. King Moonracer, a manticore that lives in the middle of the North Pole. I didn't know if I was on acid when I was watching this or something, but I just don't get it. The last character I'll speak on is Sam the Snowman. He is a great narrator. The thing I find interesting, though, is apparently Burl Ives, who they brought in to do Sam, was originally not going to have any songs, but because of his popularity and the audience that he could draw in, they gave all of Yukon Cornelius's songs to Burl Ives. So all in all, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer will go down in history as one of the best Christmas specials to ever exist. But I will say, due to it not exactly holding up over the years, with everyone being a jerk in the movie, with the obvious sexism that shows up from time to time, and I'm probably going to get some hate for this, I'm going to give this movie a 4 out of 5. Now, as for the trivia question, what scene was not originally in the movie? That sequence at the end, with the toys from the Island of Misfit Toys, was not originally in the movie, but apparently there were so many kids that sent in letters complaining about what happened to the Misfit Toys. Did they get rescued? Did Santa take care of them? That Rankin and Bass decided to add an additional scene that was then in the movie going forward that showcases Santa saving them and giving them away to good boys and girls. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Askewed Reviews. Please, as always, check out the other videos and like, comment, share, and subscribe.